Well, after the shenanigans that was match week 7, I think that match week 8 has a lot to live up to. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. This is still the North London edition of Red Card Radio, coming at you all week. My name is James. I support Arsenal. That is Sean over there. He still supports Tottenham for some insane reason. And Brad is still, I think he's at this point lit his yard on fire, is my understanding of what he's doing.
That is how we understood the situation to be. Yeah. He has lit on purpose, lit his yard on fire.
And the chief information officer, the CIO, she is, I think, standing ready with like a garden hose, apparently. So
some type of firefighting equipment.
If you hear about some crazy situation and you're in the eastern seaboard, the southern eastern seaboard, I guess Brad talks about living in Charlotte. If you hear about some crazy situation of people lighting their grass on fire in Charlotte, you might have found KS Brad G. But
it's a pretty big city. I don't think we have to worry about stalkers.
It's
pretty safe there.
It's a large place. So, but yeah, match week 8. We don't have those scores. Don't look at the ticker for a second, everyone. Just ignore it. It doesn't exist right now. It'll exist in just a moment, but we will have those games scrolling along the bottom for you in just a minute. So what a good weekend we have coming up. We've got
we start off the week with Luton hosting Spurs at Kenilworth.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
It'll be our first trip to.
Yeah,
they aren't quite the Midlands, are they?
No, they're just north of London.
They're in Milton Keynes, I believe, or right outside.
They're like right outside of London. Arsenal. So interesting thing about Arsenal this week. We were supposed to fly out to France for our Champions League match, and we apparently sat on the tarmac at the Luton airport for like 5 hours because of rain or something like that. We had to cancel our press conference and do it over the phone. Apparently, I wonder if we're going to get a demerit point from UEFA like Newcastle did.
You should send notes to Newcastle on how to sit on a tarmac for a long period of time.
My whole thought about this is, does nobody look at a forecast? Like, did nobody look at the forecast? Because the thing about it is, like, isn't there a train from England that goes through the channel and get you, like, isn't it called the channel? Isn't it the channel tunnel? And you get into France on train? Like, so why wouldn't you just take the train? And then you don't have to worry about, I mean, I know why football teams want to fly. I get it. I understand. And Arsenal are sponsored by an airline, so I understand it implicitly. But at the same time, don't you think it would be more efficient to take the train and get there sooner than wait on the airplane? I don't know. Maybe there were no seats on the train.
Also, just curious, there is a large airport in London that you could have used. Why did you go to Luton to fly to France? It's the opposite. You went the opposite direction. You went northwest to go southeast.
Well, to be fair, maybe London traffic is probably not great. And so getting from Colney to Luton might be faster than getting from Colney to Heathrow. I don't know.
Perhaps. Heathrow is on the south of the Thames, so that is possible.
So, all right. Other than Spurs Luton, or Luton Spurs, however you want to say it, the big one of the weekend. Let's just start at the top. We've got first place Manchester City traveling to North London to take on third place Arsenal. This is the match that everyone kind of circled at the beginning of the year, because everyone kind of believed that this Premier League title race would come down to Arsenal and Manchester City again. And that has proven to be, there are still other people vying for the title at this point. But this could have a big implication on the Premier League title come May. If either one of these teams does go on to win the Premier League, it will probably be it would obviously be at the expense of the other one. And so Arsenal come into this city match. I don't know if confident is necessarily the right frame of mind. We did, this podcast is releasing on Thursday. So Saka went down injured on Tuesday in the Champions League. So don't have a lot of context around that as we are recording it. But I would imagine Saka misses this match now. But apparently, Thomas Partey is back in training. He was on the bench in the Champions League, so he is back fit. And so everyone who is an Arsenal supporter is just asking Mikel to play a midfield three of Rice, Partey, and Odegaard on Saturday. If we play a midfield of Rice, Partey, and Odegaard with a back four of Zinchenko, Saliba, Gabriel, and White, I think that regardless of the situation with Bukayo Saka, I think that that is a formidable 7 players.
I will challenge you on that.
Challenge away.
Is Tierney hurt?
Kieran?
Yeah.
Yes, but context, he's a Real Sociedad player right now. He's on loan to Real Sociedad.
Oh, you loaned him out. Loaned him out.
But he is also injured. He just did his hamstring or something like that yesterday.
That wasn't a troll. All right, so you don't have an option other than Tamayasu at left back, because here's why I ask. Zinchenko has been targeted repeatedly when he is exclusively at left back and not inverted.
True.
He is
when he's defending.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's being targeted heavily, and it's working.
He is a defensive liability.
Pep is going to know that if you run that formation. So unless you plan to push Odie into a full 10, or I guess
and play two sixes with the 10,
and play an inverted Zinchenko with a 3-man back. I guess that would be the play if you're going to do that, because Pep's going to know that if you put out the sheet and Zinchenko's on it, he's going to know to attack that side.
Yeah, he's just going to sit Haaland on Gabriel. And then have him float out over there. I think it's a fair question. It would be interesting. I don't think Arteta does this. But if he did Tamiyasu at left back, because Tamiyasu has proven to be fairly good at coming into the midfield. He's a great defender. He's a fantastic defender, and then coming into the midfield, he's been pretty good about it. So,
yeah, I don't know why, especially against Haaland, why you wouldn't go Tamiyasu, Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White across the back. You might as well.
The 4 center back.
They're all athletic enough to handle it. It's not like any of them are going to be put out or anything.
I mean, that gets even more stout the more I think about it. I'm not opposed to it. I think that you would only question whether or not you have enough creativity, because you
paid $100 million for creativity. You paid $150 million for creativity between Odegaard and Rice.
Oh, to be fair, we only paid $35 million for Martin Odegaard.
Okay. You paid $135 million for creativity in the midfield, so you figure it out.
Can we just agree that $35 million for Martin Odegaard is we like? I don't know if Real Madrid wanted to give us a cut rate price, but that is a deal that Arsenal did there.
Yeah, we got a couple of those. We got a couple of stinkers like Richarlison, but we got a couple of steals over on our end too.
Yo, he is such a donkey. He is such a donkey.
He played extremely well on the left. To be fair, he started on the left.
He assisted Son,
and that's where he predominantly played at Everton, where we have predominantly not played him because of Kane.
Yeah,
being in the middle and Son being on the left. So with Son playing in the middle, who's adequate enough to do that, you just flip-flop it, and Richarlison comes off the left. He looked adequate. Yeah. Let's see if they continue to do that. We'll see how it goes. I still like Solomon's creativity a little bit better. But
I was going to say Solomon seems like what I would prefer, but I'm not big Ange. So
by the way, I don't want to take too much Arsenal time, but did you see that because Solomon is looking good, that Shakhtar Donetsk is like, hey, actually on the free transfer, we paid $6 million a little bit ago. You guys could kick us something,
I didn't hear about this. What happened?
They're requesting Tottenham pay the $6.5 million. Their president said, we didn't It was a lot for us when we paid for him from it was some Israeli team. It was a lot when we paid for for Tottenham. That'd be nothing for them. We're just asking to get our money back, you know?
So
It was a free transfer.
but he went to Fulham, right? So Fulham bought him from Shakhtar. Is that my understanding?
I don't know the context. I would need to look into how the transgressions worked out, but I do know that we got him on a free transfer
From Fulham, though.
from Shakhtar.
All right. Well, interesting. Um,
Now they're putting their request out that we pay at least what they pay for him, which if they have legal recourse to take some action, then yes, paying $6 million for him after seeing him in game action seems like a very fair thing to do. If that's all they want is the money back that they paid for him, but also off.
yeah. So he was loaned to Fulham, and then why did they just give him to you for free?
I don't know.
Man, that Daniel Levy guy, that guy's a genius. He's doing work. Obviously, City are depleted a little bit with Rodri. Rodri's still suspended. Kevin De Bruyne is still injured. It does seem like John Stones and Bernardo Silva are back in training after injuries. So it'll be interesting to see how they line up in the Champions League this week, and then also what it looks like on Sunday. Now, unlike Arteta, Pep is going to rotate his team for the Champions League slightly with an eye towards Arsenal. Arteta did not do that in the Champions League this week, and that's why Saka is injured now. But I digress. But yeah,
Maybe he's figuring he'll just rest his players against City. You know.
oh yeah, it won't matter. We'll just get that easy 3-0 victory and still be able to rest. Yeah, easy clap. So that's gonna be a good one. That's the final game of the weekend. That's Saturday at 11:30 Eastern time. I guess that's what, like a 4:30 start in England, 3:30 start, whatever it is. I don't know. Conversions. But I want to turn our attention to Manchester United. Manchester United last week beat Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup, then lost to Crystal Palace in the league. Now they welcome Brentford to Old Trafford. Now, Thomas Frank's team, would you, when you look at Crystal Palace and you look at Brentford, do you think that Brentford is a more formidable team than Crystal Palace?
Absolutely.
So do
Way
I.
more. Well, if you remember at the beginning of the summer, I wanted Thomas Frank. That is the manager I wanted to come manage Tottenham.
Yeah. Now it's interesting because Crystal Palace is obviously higher up in the table than Brentford is, but I think just like on like a feels level, which you and I are all into feels. We would both kind of say that Brentford is a bit more formidable than Palace, and so this kind of presents an interesting situation for Manchester United. Right now, they have 3 wins, 4 losses, no draws. They're on 9 points with a -4 goal difference. And they've lost both of their games in the Champions League. They're still in the Carabao Cup. They'll be in the FA Cup. You had an interesting statistic about the number of losses they had, right?
So that was I read this today. This is the first time since 1986 that Manchester United has lost 6 of their first 10 games, all competitions.
That's wild. And so this kind of paints an interesting, like a precarious situation. Ten Hag has been at the club now for over a year. He has gotten his players. Manchester United have spent a lot of money to buy his players. And so, like, it's not a fact that he hasn't been supported. Now, they obviously are having some injuries right now, but all the teams are having injuries right now. There's not a single team in the proverbial big 6 or in the top 10 of the Premier League that isn't dealing with injuries at some level. Maybe Tottenham. You guys seem fairly healthy.
We still have. I mean, we still have Bentaker, but
Oh, true, but he's a
that was
long-standing one.
that was a prior injury. So
Yeah,
he would be in our starting 11, but he got injured
World Cup.
in the World Cup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the World Cup.
he did his ACL in the World Cup, so we didn't have him for the entirety of the spring and then the preseason. So.
He should be coming back soon. He should be getting into fitness soon.
He's already in training. Yeah,
Oh,
he's
great.
already in.
Good.
He is into training. Yeah.
And so I want to ask this question: is Eric Ten Hag's job in jeopardy?
I Here's the only reason why I say no.
Okay.
He got them back to Champions League, which had been what 3 years, 2 years, three
Uh
years since they had been in the top four.
no, it wasn't no. They finished second under Ollie.
Okay,
They finished
yeah, but
second under Ollie, and then
that's been about,
Ralph. They
that's
finished
been
like
about two,
eighth under Ralph or something like that, or
two,
whatever it
two
was.
or 2 or 3 years
I
since
think
they've been back into the Champions League.
I think they just missed it by 1 year. I think it was just 1 year, the year that they sacked Ollie mid-season and then brought Ralph Ragnick in. I think that was the only year that they missed Champions League football.
Okay, well, all right. So he comes in, institutes his philosophy. They win a lot of games. They finish third. All seems well. It's been a rough start. You had mentioned, if you want to cue those stats back up, they're
Oh
not
yeah,
far off. They're not far off of where they were last year.
yeah.
At the
So
same time, now given at that time they were still starting Harry Maguire and they still had Ronaldo, and they hadn't sat both of those, which is really when their season took off. So now you don't have those two quote unquote excuses.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so I was looking at this. I was curious to see where they were at the similar time last year after playing 7 games. And after playing 7 games last year, they had won 4 and lost 3, and were on 12 points with a -3 goal difference. So it's not like they're that. I mean, obviously 3 points is 3 points, but it like you said, not that far off what they were
they're
doing
not.
last year.
They're
It's
not
not.
at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the main reason I would say, from what I was getting to, was the owners have been under so much pressure recently, from almost selling, from being pressured into selling to not selling, to the possible uh, insider trading, market manipulation crap they did, where they sold some of their stakes, some of their shares when the price was the highest, and then announced that they weren't going to sell, and then the price plummets.
Yeah.
There has to be some type of market manipulation, insider, like there has to be something along those lines
Yeah, that's
being drawn
real,
up.
real questionable. If they're going after
Um,
your boy, whatever his name
yeah,
is.
like come on. But if all that's going on, the last thing you need is to fire the manager. 8, 10 games into the season, who has given you recent success and a league cup last year. He won a cup last year.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I don't think
Like
that
the last thing you need is to piss them back off.
I don't think that you would say Ten Hag has been the best manager that they've had in since Mourinho, probably. Now that's not necessarily saying a whole lot, because after Mourinho was Ollie, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and that's a lot to say because I don't think Ten Hag is a good manager.
I don't think he's
He is
bad per se.
he
I
is
don't know
just
if
the
he's
best
good.
manager they've had.
Yeah, I don't think he's bad. I'm just not sure I know if he's good or not. Is the question, because he comes from Ajax, and we all know how you feel about Ajax. Um,
Swindlers, hustlers, no gooders.
um, and so I don't think that his job should be in jeopardy, but it feels like it is because he's at Manchester United. Now I will say, if the Glazers do ultimately sell, and they sell to like the Qataris, like is the rumor, then I definitely think that they're going to sack him and get their own manager. So if there's a new ownership situation at Manchester United, and Manchester United is still in this like weird middling, like just kind of plodding around the middle of the pack, then yeah, I think that they would sack him almost instantly. It feels like kind of like what happened to Steve Bruce at Newcastle. Now, Steve Bruce certainly earned his sacking at Newcastle, but it kind of seems like that would be that he would get the axe. So I'm not necessarily sure if Brentford were to beat United this weekend that Ten Hag would be sacked on Monday. I don't think that happens, but it does. Like, I really, if there's a fan base that I enjoy seeing in turmoil, Manchester United is near the top of that list. They're second.
Great, isn't it?
They're second on that list for me, and it's so lovely seeing them like just molting over the fact that they've spent so much money and they're just not good. And I'm really surprised by that because I thought that they would be good this year. I thought with the amount of investment they had made, that they would really crack on this year. But it's kind of shocking to me just how average they are.
It's because just like Chelsea, they don't have a recruiting department.
I mean, they're
They,
literally just buying whoever Ten Hag wants. Like that's what
they have
the recruiting
they have
is.
a dude that plays FIFA,
Is it
and
Speed?
that's it.
I show
That's
Speed
it.
as their recruiting
That,
department.
yes, that's it. That's their recruiting department.
They watch Goldbridge play FIFA on YouTube.
Yeah, they don't have a scouting department. They don't know who is actually good or not.
It's such a weird situation, and I love it. It's fantastic.
Well,
Um,
just to lightly touch on the other team that you like to see mired in
oh
such,
yeah, let's do it.
uh, Chelsea are 4 points off the relegation zone. Just to let you know.
Oh man, wouldn't that be something else? I know in our group chat between you, me, Brad, and Joel, when we chat about football, everyone's all so hyped about Everton getting relegated. And like that legitimately could happen, but wouldn't it be the greatest day ever if Chelsea Football Club got relegated? And I'd say that even if Brad was here, I'd say it to his face. I can't stand
Uh,
that club.
yeah, they're not good.
And talk about another team that spent an inordinate amount of money and are just so incredibly average.
One 1 billion, and they're getting 500 more on the way on deck for January.
So ridiculous. I have so many thoughts about that. Though for some reason, something in my mind is telling me that I feel like Chelsea are set up to be successful sooner or successful quicker than Manchester United, just based on the type of players that they've bought. They've bought younger players that have more potential, whereas like Onana looks like he's a donkey. Anthony is a donkey. Mason Mount, I don't know if he is ever going to be good again. Um, and Chelsea have
we,
bought like young, good, exciting players.
well, I said that in the group chat to Brad that if you gave me the choice of Tottenham's roster is replaced with Chelsea's roster or United's roster, I would take Chelsea's 10 out of 10 times.
Um,
They're not good now, but 100%. Like you've got Varane and Casemiro that are 45 like they're 45 years old. They're going to be needing walkers in the next 2 years.
that's median. That's
At
median age for them. Yeah,
the 45 median age
yeah.
between the two of them. Like, and that's your best center back and your best center mid.
Like that's the spine of your defense, all playing in front of
Yeah,
a goalkeeper who is number one at number one. His number one statistic is in shouts. He's really good at shouting, but that's about
yeah,
it.
and that's not good.
Yeah.
Hey, De Gea's a free agent though. By the way,
They spent
United.
they spent so much money on Onana. Wasn't it like 50 million or something like that? 60 million is an
Where,
astronomical
where,
amount of money they spent on him.
where'd they get him from?
Italy, right?
Yeah, they're
Inter.
whoever that team is. Bamboozlers also.
Well, he
Yes, you know what they are bamboozlers because they just bamboozled Chelsea.
yeah, yeah, they got rid of the donkey. It's just wild to me. I saw a statistic about Onana. It was of all of the players who have attempted 50 or more long balls or something like that this season, he is ranked last in accuracy. Um, and so it's just like that's not a good statistic for a
with my eye,
goalkeeper.
with my eyeballs, he also ranks last in hand accuracy of actually
Yeah,
blocking balls.
they've conceded 11 goals, which isn't the worst in the division. Um, but like when you're thinking about like teams that you expect to be good, I mean Brighton have conceded 14. Um, but yeah, like he looks like he is a significant downgrade on the most recent Golden Glove winner, David De Gea, who they had offered a contract to, who was getting ready to sign a contract extension, only to have it rescinded, which is scumbag behavior, if I do say so myself. But yeah, this whole Manchester United situation is really volatile, and I'm here for it. Other honorable mentions this week, we got Liverpool headed to the South Coast. They play Brighton on Sunday. Now, this to me goes one of two ways. Either Brighton are Brighton and they just rock up and it's a good game, or Liverpool are unleashing just an unholy amount of rage and anger, and they score about 12 goals.
Yeah, Liverpool are the one team that reflects their manager extremely well. And
Yeah.
Klopp's not going to be happy in that locker room. And I think they are going to absolutely. Most times that Liverpool go for 7 or 8 goals, it's the week after they were wronged in something or something bad happened. And they come out the next week and they absolutely obliterate the next opponent.
We'll have a quick look. Who do they play? They play Union Saint Gilles, whoever this is. Royal Union Saint Gilles, which has got to be a French team, right? That's got to be a French team. Club
like Belgian.
Belgian? They're Belgian?
I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Are you bad at Googling, Brad?
Yeah, I'm bad at Googling. But so where are they? Soccer club. Where are they from? Belgian. Nailed it. Good job. That is a game where they could score 9 goals. So like maybe they get their pent up aggression out in the Europa League. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then the Brighton match is a good one.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Because Brighton have some pent up aggression to get out in the Europa League as well. So I mean, they just got shellacked last weekend too.
And they also laid an egg at home against the Greek team. I can't remember which one it was. AEK.
Was it Athens?
AEK. Yeah, I think it was Athens. AEK last time they played in the Europa. So
yeah, it was Athens.
Yeah. And they
got Marseille. That's a tough game against Marseille. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is, but I feel like they're up to it. Go to France. Marseille's and I feel like we're losing a little bit here. Maybe that's south of France.
No, Marseille. Yeah, Marseille's in South France. But all I'm saying is Marseille's a good team. That's all I'm saying.
Go down to the south of France. Catch you some sun rays while you're down there. You know.
Does Zerbio be close to home because Marseille is close to France? Close to Italy. Marseille is close to France. What am I doing? We need to end this podcast because we're losing it here. Yeah. But yeah, that I think has a potential to be another good one. And one that you also highlighted that we didn't have enough time to talk about tonight was West Ham United hosting Newcastle.
Yeah.
I think that'll be an interesting one, whether or not Moyes and the boys can kind of replicate that whole smash and grab job they did against Brighton a couple weeks ago. So we'll see. But that's what's going on in the Premier League this weekend. I definitely think you all should check it out. I also think you all should like, comment, subscribe, 5-star, all those good things, and share this with a friend. And then hit us up on Twitter at James Tiffany, at Whiteheart_Sean. Brad is at KSBradG, and collectively at Redcard_Radio. And we'll see you guys next week. We'll break all this down for you on the review next week, and we can't wait to do that for you. But until then, have a good one, and we will talk to you all soon.